Welcome to Adding Value, the show for property owners facing the big decision. Sell as is or add value for a better return on investment. To find the answers, it's our resident auctioneer Barnesy from Auction Outcomes and our man from the Renovation Team, James Goren.
Well, welcome to another edition of Adding Value, and today we've got James Goren from the Renovation Team, and we'll be looking at a slightly different twist on how you add value to your property. So James, we have a property, it's a freestanding townhouse in Ellerslie. It's got 2 bedrooms, looks in reasonable condition, and they're first home buyers. Always good to be talking about first home buyers because it's hard to get on that ladder, and once you can just get on that rung, you've got to hang on. What were they looking to do with the property?
Good, so they just bought it as a first home buyer, and then they got in touch with us. So they running their own business. They want to actually create like a space, like a room or a / office in their house so they can run their business from home. So we went there, met on site, and we looked at how we can actually create another office space so they can work from home. Took some advice from our lovely draftsman, and we kind of did a bit of a brainstorm, all of us, and tried to figure out what's the best way to move forward.
Yeah, because it wasn't a very big property, so you had to think very long and hard about. Yeah. Because something was going to be sacrificed, and we've spoken about that on previous episodes. There's always something that has to give to get, but having that third small bedroom / office in today's world, especially if you do work from home like they do, is crucial. So I guess the theme of today is, why did they want to add that additional bedroom? Because the property looked livable as it was, and they could have saved the dollars and not spent the dollars.
Of course.
But obviously they had some needs and wants that the property wasn't quite giving them.
Yeah, the property was in a reasonable condition. Nothing stopping them from going there and living in the property, but they did needed an extra space. Now, when they were looking at the 3-bedroom townhouses in Ellerslie, the price bracket was another 150 to 100K more. That was definitely way out of their budget. So they actually look for a space that they can actually buy and add another value and actually improve it without spending the money on a price tag of a 3-bedroom.
So what they've done here is they bought the 2-bedroom property at the 2-bedroom price bracket, and with some smart thinking and a draftsperson and yourselves, they're able to make it a not quite 3-bedroom, but at least 2 bedrooms and an office, which is what they needed to function as a family. And they've obviously done that, and they've had their whole house spruced up by you guys, and they've actually got that 3rd room that they desperately needed, and at probably a much lower price than if they were having to buy the 3-bedroom. If they bought a 3-bedroom, they're going to have to pay a premium for that because it costs more, as you've discussed. But they don't actually need a big 3rd bedroom. What they need is just a good functioning small bedroom / office that they can work from, and it's about tailor making those needs to the customer's wants and budget, because that's always part of it. Well, thanks for your time, James, and sounds like a really interesting project that you've been through, and we're going to catch up with the owner and see what their thoughts are.
Sounds good.
Thanks, James. And now we're going to be talking to the owner, Alex, about how he acquired the property, his thoughts and feelings as the renovation went through, and why he made that purchase on that property. Thanks, Alex. Welcome to Adding Value.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along, and you're a first home buyer. It's a frightening time to be a first home buyer. You were telling us earlier you bought at auction. It was ferocious. They were down to the $500 bids, and you managed to stretch yourself, and you even went past your budget, which, I always say to people, bid to your maximum, because if you don't win the property, you walk out the door knowing there's nothing you can do, and you did that and you got that. So before you embarked on looking for a home, did you seek advice from anywhere, or?
Me and my partner, we're part of this whole property investment group. And they've got the blueprint to what kind of homes to buy and how to make the most value out of them, how to get the most value out of them. And they just had all the tools, what you need to look for, and just and there's a mentor there who's just guiding us all the way through. So that's we couldn't have done it without them.
That's a smart move, because you can't buy experience, but you can get it from other people, and like-minded people, and they're always willing to help, because I always think everybody has a soft spot for a first home buyer, because everybody knows just how hard it is. So how many properties did you look at when you online and then physically?
Online was hundreds and hundreds every day, just checking what new properties come up.
Yeah.
And then physically, probably about 50.
Wow.
Just, yeah, open home after open home. Yeah.
And you're working to a fairly strict budget?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were specifically looking for a 2-bedroom property that had the capacity to take a third, whether that was a 3rd bedroom or a 3rd office, because you have a work from home environment, is that correct?
For us, it was just get the best house possible, as in we need, so this is the foundations, right? Just like, I don't really care. It was, let's get the most value out of this. That was our goal.
How did you come across James Goren and the renovation team?
So I met James at the property investment group.
Oh, okay,
so he's part of that group.
Excellent.
He's one of the preferred builders in that group. So just him being there, we had absolute trust. And I've gone through all of his stuff, and the way he does it, the way he did everything, just 100% trust. So we let him do what he needed to do. But obviously, like me and the property mentor, we both knew how to like convert this, but obviously James knew all the building details. So yeah, we just let him do it.
James has a methodology, and you probably know this. He doesn't touch anything that's got anybody in it. Houses have to be completely 100% empty, just so him and his team can go in and just go full noise. So when we went through the project and it was going along, how were you feeling? Were you a little bit nervous? I know you had a lot of trust in James and you'd seen a lot of his work, but I mean, anybody who renovates and isn't a little bit nervous, I kind of think.
No, we just trusted him.
Went with the flow. Excellent.
Yeah. We knew what we were getting.
Yep.
So, and we had full trust, so everything worked out. Yeah. He kept us informed all the way throughout. He showed us the plans of how he's going to do the kitchens, how everything was going to look like, the paint, everything in detail. Just, I kind of knew exactly what was going to happen, and I don't think anything could have gone wrong. You know? Maybe just James was so good.
Most people are always thinking what could go wrong, but you appear to be one of those guys that just says, no, it's going to be right. I'll put it in the hands of an expert. It's going to go well. And gee, I wish I could be like that, because I'm one of these people that start to think what could go wrong, I'll be honest with you.
In this situation, no. Because when you trust somebody, when you invest a lot of money, you invest a lot of time, you do your homework, you know what you're going to get. There's nothing to worry about.
You've been living in New Zealand for quite a while. I think you said you came over when you were 5?
Yep.
From Korea?
Yep.
So Alex, why was it so important for you to get on the property ladder? Because a lot of people just, are quite comfortable not being a property owner, but you've taken the steps to the property investors, getting the plan, executing the plan. Why was that?
I think just as investment for the future, because could have rented and just be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, we could have not taken out the loans. Yep. There was an opportunity from our parents. Yep. I'm really lucky. I've got parents supporting me, and we decided to make an investment for the future, because we know that this property that we bought now was really, really hard, but 10 years.
Yep. Well, thank you, Alex, and giving us your time. We do appreciate it. It's great to see a 32-year-old getting on the property ladder with your partner and no longer paying rent, and we'll start to enjoy those capital gains as we roll through the years, and you've added value to the property, which is great. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Welcome back to Adding Value, and now we've got Ross, our resident designer, and we're going to have a chat about his involvement and how he assisted with the property in Ellerslie and taking it from that 2-bedroom property to 3. But before we go there, Ross, can we just have a little bit of a chat about where you feel the market is at the moment, because we're in an interesting spot. There's been some governmental changes, we've got supply issues, we've got things like that. How are you finding the market? Because you're at the front end. You're the person who starts doing the paperwork, doing the design before any building starts. So you see the entire food chain. Where do you see the market right now?
At the moment, the smaller homes are down. The bigger homes, they're just basically the same. But we're just literally hitting the supply and demand. There's just no supply of timber out there. Ships are out on the water, can't get in.
Yeah, it sort of seems funny, New Zealand's got so many pine trees and we're short of timber.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not really.
No. What you just painted there wasn't a particularly great picture, but that's the life, and that's the fact of the matter is these shortages, and it's not just in New Zealand, it's in the whole flipping world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, that middle market is still reasonably going well.
Well, that's where I'm literally placed, middle to lower end. We do a lot of renovation work, a lot. And as you know, with the market selling and buying and sellers out there at the moment, people are buying and selling their homes, but when they're buying, they want to do little wee tweaks, like this job that we've just looked at. You know, it
wasn't quite what they wanted, and it wasn't delivering.
Yep.
But, you know, we spoke to James, and the clever things that you guys did, and you're going to talk about that in a moment, gave them exactly what they wanted. Because I say this to every single person in real estate, everything's a compromise. If you're looking for the perfect house, well, then you'll be spending your entire life doing open homes, and that's not a lot of fun.
Well, I don't think the perfect house has actually been built yet, because what you like and what I like are two different things.
No, absolutely. So Ross, we need to get back on track because we've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole here. We need to get back to the Ellerslie property, the 2-bedroom freestanding townhouse, and the changes made to predominantly downstairs, which was the kitchen and then the additional room.
Well, what we've done was we moved the kitchen forward and put a bedroom/office in behind. There's still a hallway going down towards the front room beside the bedroom. To get the drainage and things like that out, we had to do false walls, things like that. But that's part and parcel of some of these little renos of getting things out.
So with doing that false wall, you're stealing a little bit of space, and space is of a premium in a property like that, but it's much better than getting the concrete saw out where, you know, it's a mess, you're potentially compromising the property, and you're much better off and those pipes can be got to as well.
So because they're non-load bearing and only 2.4 stud, we're able to get away with 3x2 walls.
So what you're left with is obviously the third bedroom, we're calling it a bedroom, but bedroom/office, an open plan kitchen that works well, is small, but, you know, just because it's small, as long as it functions well, you know, it's still a really good space, and open plan is where everybody's gone.
Everyone's going open plan. If you've got friends over, that sort of thing, it opens up the kitchen area and lounge area to an entertaining space.
So, thanks to Ross and his team, using every inch they possibly could on that very small property and maximising every little space. Now we're going to pop back to James Goren and see how the renovation went. Renovation time. How did the project flow for you, James?
We spent quite a lot of time and thinking about how to design the kitchen in the most cost-effective way that we can actually fit it, because it's not a big kitchen, but it's very nice and functional. So we spent quite a few rounds of designing, redesigning, measuring, and pretty much utilizing every little inch to make it work. Because the property have concrete walls, concrete floors, and everything is concrete, and
that's not good for plumbing.
No, exactly. So from the plumbing point of view, you just don't want to start cutting the house in half and running pipes and then re-concrete it, because it's possible under a certain situation, but we always try to avoid it as much as possible because it's not very healthy to the property. So we end up building like a false walls, like a double up walls, and we ran the pipes and the waste through a double wall. And we did it in a nice, interesting, smart way that is cost effective, but it also doesn't damage the property too much. And we managed to synchronize that and get all the plumbings outside. So that was nice. Hot water cylinder, we end up utilizing that space, and we move it outside. So we have the external hot water cylinder. It's a nice, good stainless steel one and works well. Upstairs was quite challenging getting the ventilation of the bathroom out. Sometimes you don't have space in the roof, you don't have space, and it was all kind of odd angles. So we managed to find an interesting way of taking the ventilation through a pipe, through the wall, to the back side of the wall, into a wardrobes, and from that wardrobe we managed to get outside. It was a bit of an innovative way, so it's been done nicely, and because otherwise there was no space in the wall to take the ventilation, and we did want to ventilate the place.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
you
part
do.
of the
thing.
You
know, wet bathrooms just rot, end of. And you know, it's amazing how many houses you go into that just don't have that extraction. And while that was painful, you know, that's protecting an asset, because you've renovated the bathroom and the last thing you want is 2 or 3 years you're putting your finger straight through a wet gaping hole, and that's what happens.
Yeah, any bathroom that we do, even if the customer doesn't matter, want, don't want, it's a must. We always put the ventilation, 150 mil, it needs to be, this is the right thing. We always do, you need to do the right thing.
So, James, you've done hundreds of renovations and, you're very experienced, and you know most things that come at you, you're ready for and you're expecting, but, these houses always have their own little nuances, and there's something that makes you go, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. When you start moving things around, there's always challenges, but it's actually quite nice, and it's a good challenge, because you always need to think outside of the box and how you get it sorted, how you move things around, what's the most cost-effective way. So we like it because it does definitely great challenges, and we find a nice engineering way to overcome it.
It almost becomes, like you say, that challenge, and you want to overcome it and beat it.
Oh, it's a maze. It's a maze.
Something's been thrown at you, and how can you get around it?
Yep, it's like a big puzzle, and you always manage to somehow to find a solution. You could do something that will be great for the plumber, but the electrician will not be happy with that one, or the builder will need to spend a lot of time trying to make it work for him. So it's always a compromise.
Well, thank you, James. Appreciate your time. And now we're going to pop back and have a chat to the owner and see what they thought of the final project. Thank you. We'll be back in just a moment with the owner. So welcome back, Alex. Appreciate you giving us your time again. When we last spoke, you were pretty adamant. You sort of knew what you were going to get. You looked at the blueprints. You were you were more than comfortable. You were quite adamant it was going to be how it was. How did that turn out for you?
Perfect.
Perfect?
Yep.
Well, I mean, as I said, not many people can go into a renovation and know what they're going to get. So, Alex, the day that the keys were handed over to you and your partner, you must have felt a level of excitement and thinking, well, goodness me, it's ours, it's finished.
Just very impressed with everything. We just thought, like, the whole process, it was stress-free. Like, you hear those
horror stories.
You hear the horror stories, but with James, it was just like, he told us this is what's going to happen. When we saw it, it was just, oh yes, like, this is it. Yeah, we got what we wanted. Yep. Yeah.
So, Alex, you and your partner have been living in the property for a while now. Is there one thing that you're most happy about making the decision on?
Where to put the third bedroom. I think that was a really important decision we had to make. So the option was either upstairs, we have 3 bedrooms, or we have an office downstairs. And we decided to have the office, and I think just by having the room downstairs as an office, I think that this property will appeal to a wide audience. Yep. So like families with small children. With small children. I think. So in that sense, the value of this house is increased because it appeals to a wider audience.
Interesting, because like you say, you could have gone upstairs, but then you would have had 3 probably quite small rooms, whereas you've probably got 2 reasonable and 1 small / office.
Just by having, so the bathroom now is upstairs.
Yep.
So the bathroom upstairs with 2 bedrooms.
Yep.
That's more appealing to a small family, for example, rather than 3 bedrooms and going out with kids. Having 3 bedrooms will appeal to like students and stuff, but I think just it's in Ellerslie, good location, it attracts families. So I think that was a key decision we had to make, having that bedroom downstairs.
So Alex, you did the renovation, it was for yourself and your partner, but obviously everybody thinks about resale. Was that something you were considering?
If something of ridiculous offer came up,
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
I always think everything's for sale at a price.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming in, Alex, and sharing your experience. I mean, it's really helpful for first-home buyers to hear how you did it, so that they can take some of the learnings from yourself, and really appreciate you coming in. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to Adding Value. Welcome back to Adding Value, and goodness me, Alex and his wife were ecstatic about their new home and the freshening up of their 2-bedroom / now 3-bedroom house. Now we're going to have a chat to James Goren, and it's reckoning time. It's how do the numbers fall? And so, James, this property obviously isn't going to be rented out, so that's not something we're going to be considering. But do you want to take us through the purchase price, the renovation, and where it sits now?
Yeah, by all means. So the purchase price was 790,000, 790. The renovation cost was 59,000. That it's just a nice refresh to the number. It was kind of a full do-up. We pretty much done 95% of the property that we have touched. And the new valuation of this property, it's sitting on about the 950. So if they would be turning up and want to sell it back and put it back to the market, so they could expect the 950. So
that's basically $200,000.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
give $1,000. I'm always told off for rounding up numbers, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's $200,000, and you know, they weren't in that price bracket that was going to allow them to borrow $950 to get the 3-bedroom, but they've just done it another way with you guys, which is, you know, there's some smart decision making, and you know, $200,000 in 6 weeks, that's adding value. That's,
totally.
You know, and the bank would just love them because their whole equity, let's pretend, and I'm just surmising, they had a 10% deposit. They're now probably sitting somewhere in the 25 to 30, and banks love nothing more than more equity in their property.
And better security. Yeah, that property was just in the right size of still creating more value and adding another office, but not too small.
No.
Do it once, do it right, and get it over with.
James, today we've seen 2 people who are first onto the property ladder, which is fantastic to see them there. They've got the house they want within the budget they want. They've added value, they've added equity. It's just a really good outcome, and you know, it's just another way of adding value. You know, some people want to buy a property and get it up ready for rent. Others want to buy it and flip it. Obviously, they bought it and they've purpose built for themselves, and you know, they've got you know, not too many people can go out and buy a house and get exactly what they want for a great budget, and then at the end of that actually have more equity in the property. So fantastic outcome all round for you, for Alex, and as a team. Well done, James.
Thank you.
Another great project. Well, thank you for making time and watching Adding Value. We'll see you next week for another episode of Adding Value. Cheers.